I'm like this. We're going live, all the way live. Just forget about your troubles and your nine to five. Just sail along. That's what you do. Just sail along. All right. So we're live. I believe we're live.
It
And
looks like it.
I've got on my shirt from India too.
Me too. What
I
are the
know.
chances?
You just got these. Kieran gave these to me.
It's
These
lovely.
shirts. I love them. I love them. And my lovely, the lovely uh, designs from India, just amazing. I miss India. Anyway,
I miss
welcome.
Italy.
I know it's the I countries: India, Italy, Israel. The three I's. I remember one year I was like in all three in 1 month after the other, and I was like, "This is the month about I, not about me, about I." These are the months.
I
Yeah.
like that. I like
Hello,
it.
Nina. How are you?
Hello. I am good. How are
Yeah.
you? How's
You're
it going?
great. You're awesome. And I love that. I've been always saying recently how that this Corona period, Corona 19 in 1920, and a bird just flew. Birds always fly when things are amazing. So a bird just flew outside my window. Um, it though allows us to connect with people that we adore, that we love, that we've created with, and so when we're connecting, it's just magic. It's just magic.
It is.
And I just wanted to tell some people, well, you can tell some people a little bit about you. And and I want to say that I love Ena, and I also love her husband and her mom. They're my friends. Like so, and not through you. Like we have, I love that when people have their own relationships, like my friend Karen Jones, so she's got to be on here. She introduced me to Access Consciousness years ago, but way before that, she had introduced me to this guy, this really cute guy, really, energetically beautiful and also physically beautiful in Italy, who I'm now married to for 21 years, right? But they were friends before. So when we're together, like they have their own relationship that is,
Oh,
what I mean? That they know one another longer than I know either one of them, or maybe for the same amount of time as
yeah.
her. And that makes things so rich, when you don't have to be the gap between people, the bridger, or they're not friends because of
Yeah.
you know. And that allows
I like
us,
the way you put, I like the way you put that. There's
yeah,
no gap between you and
yeah, and it allows us, the two of us, to formulate our own rapport
yeah.
relationship.
Yeah, that is so interesting that you even said that because it's like how many times we actually look at things through filters, like other people's filters or how other people are seeing, and this totally gets you to create your own. Like I think with my mom, you had known her for a while, and when I met you, like it was like you are Kamal's daughter. You're so yeah, creating possibilities.
I
And
mean, we're going to be talking
very
about money and wealth, but I just want to say, I'm sure I've maybe told you this before. Oh, did I fix my hair thing? Okay, I
looks
forgot to
lovely.
fix that. I did put on the lipstick, but I was like, oops. um, my I For years, India has been such a part of my life forever. My mother's colleague and my pediatrician, Dr. Shahabuddin, is from Mohammed Shahabuddin from North India, and I worked with them. In addition to him being my pediatrician, I worked with him and my mom in their private office as their sort of office manager when I was 18 before heading off to New York for college. And so I always thought I want to go to India, but I can't go to India until I'm really sure of myself because I know that it's a place where, you have to be confident in yourself and you have to know, what you want in life. And I can't really go to India until then. So then I always was waiting. I was like, I'm not ready for India. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And so, like maybe 7 years ago or something, I went for the first time to a 7-day event, and I had already been in contact with this guy, Ratan Deep Singh, who I was like, he kept signing up for every class I had, whether it was live or online. And I was like, is this a like a virus or something. Like, who is this guy that, signing up for a live class in, in America, in, South Africa, in
Turban
always.
virus.
When I went to India, I flew all night. I got there in the middle of the night and I came into breakfast in the morning. And he came up to me from behind and he said, "Hello, Kass. I'm Ratandeep Singh. Welcome home." I sat down at the table. "Come over to the family. Your mom was there. Other people was there. I was so glad I didn't put on mascara." They were all saying they had seen me, they knew me, and they were saying such caring things. My heart was just beating, and even my eyes are watering a little bit now. I spent the whole time eating, like crying, of gratitude and joy, and I felt home. I really did feel home. So that's how I met your mom. And a couple of years later, I met you, and I didn't know she was your mom until after we had. Yeah, because you are unique, girl. You're such and she did create you. You're such an independent lady. You're not anyone's daughter, anyone's wife. You just happen to be born and married, but you're you.
That is, yeah, I was just talking to someone yesterday that has definitely been a gift of the wealth and the beauty of wealth of choosing my mom this lifetime, because it has been definitely something that she's gifted me. Like, I've always had that sense of that I have choice. Even when I might be going, I can't. Can you hear me?
Yes, of course.
Okay, like,
I'm just
yeah,
gonna check
like,
and see if I need to let some people in the group. Go ahead.
cool. Yeah, so she's definitely been that gift to where I always had that sense of I have choice and I can choose to be whatever. Like, there's so many things that she actually would say to me, like I remember when, like, all my friends were not, like, we were in India, in, like, Punjab, and a lot of my friends couldn't even, like, hang out with guys, and my mom would be like, I don't want you to, like, get hooked to the first one. Go hang out with many, maybe sleep around, see who's be nurturing for you, and then make your choice if you wanna. So I never had that sense of. I thought she manipulated me well, though, because, like, I was like, but definitely gave me choice. So I didn't have to choose it, and I must say that gave me that space where I could choose more nurturing relationships and more people who were nurturing. So,
What a
yeah,
gift!
that
What a
was
gift! Yeah, I call her my sister.
it.
They call her baby Basur. I call her sister. So we call one another sisters. And she loves to swim. Anyway, this is about you, not about her, but I do love her. Yeah. So definitely a part of my life. And I just saw her last July in Mumbai. Yeah. And when we talk about wealth, it's health, wealth, and beauty. A lot of times people think wealth is just about money. So I love this is one of the first, thing talking about money with you.
Yeah,
Um, and we've done some business together also, some
yeah.
making money. But wealth is also about, just like you said, your choices, so how do your choices influence your wealth and your money?
Well, like, where you began with the whole conversation today was, like, the gratitude. Like, that's one of the things that, and I won't say that I'm, like, all the time in gratitude and I have it all figured out, but it's definitely one of the keys that actually gets you creating more and out creating yourself. Because if you have, like, have you ever noticed, like, for everyone who's listening, when you're, like, really judging yourself and what you're creating or what you're not creating or what success so called is or what others are creating, that you would, like, get paralyzed and you won't know what's the next choice that you can make, and that's the choice we are making actually in those 10 seconds, to not make the choice or to make the choice to be paralyzed. But when you're actually willing to be grateful for what you're creating, and I totally invite you guys to look at, okay, so if everything in your life is showing up with the choices you've made in the past, what can you be grateful for today? Like, what do you love about your life? what are the things, the people, and the elements that you've added to your life. And it might not be everything about like every person, but like look at the elements that they add to your life, and what can you be grateful for, and what do you love about that you actually invited that into your life. That will give you a sense and space of you that will allow you to go, okay, that's what I've been choosing, and what else? What else
Yeah.
can I choose, and what else can I add? Because like one of the that's like your shortcut to creating more. Being grateful for you and what you're creating, the choices you've made, including the people. I know in coronavirus time, everyone is like, and like currently, like I'm in my room and my dog wants to get in, so I'm going to open the. He's like
I
trying.
love your doggy. I was just hearing him out there. He hears me. They always hear you. The dog. Yes, she's outside of Delhi, about an hour and a half. I remember I went over to her house there, and the doggy. So he's a big doggy. Where is he?
He just come in. It's really hot here. Like today is like the temperature is like high, and so he just came back from a walk and he was like, air conditioned room, please now. So
Yeah.
he might know a thing or two about wealth and choosing
Yeah.
wealth.
You know what I wanted to say about this, what you said, which was brilliant about the choices that we make and the contributions they can be. A lot of times, we don't recognize things that happen as something we've chosen, something we've created. And a lot of people, this is a longer conversation. A lot of people say, "Oh, I chose to be abused," right? So this is it. One
Yeah,
of the examples, one of the common examples of that, and what we've created. And it's easy to, when you've chosen something that you recognize as positive, right, to then be move forward to be grateful for it. And the more you're grateful for something, the more it enriches your life. But
yeah,
my awareness is that those things that we consider negative or not a contribution, that in blocking them out, we actually limit the flows of income, of money, right?
yeah,
And of gratitude in our lives. Because even if you're grateful for the fact that this happened, so you never, ever, 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 ever want to do it again, you know what I mean? That's your willingness to actually not block it out, to actually
yeah,
recognize it as something that's contributed to your wealth of knowledge, your wealth of experiences, your wealth of, perspective on something. And when you're willing to look at, let's say it again, the negative experiences, if we want to say that, or the unpleasant experiences as something that can contribute to your wealth of knowledge, then you are actually willing and able to receive from those areas. And you'll recognize it in a different way when it shows up, or you'll recognize it when it shows up and be able to approach it in a different way. You know, I mean, does that make sense?
yes. I'm so glad that you actually mentioned that, because a lot of time when we say gratitude, people automatically think that they don't have to think about the negative, or whatever that we've decided as is the bad and the ugly or the negative. But it's actually being willing to be grateful for everything. Like there's so many examples that pop while you were saying with that. Like, we got into this business partnership with a bunch of people, and the willingness to, like, when you're actually not get, like, somehow be able to actually zoom out and look at what's going on. You can have an awareness of what are your choices that are creating that. Like, it's so easy to go, those guys did this to us and this is what happened, and that's, they are doing this to us, to go into, well, we might have done that for a moment or two, but we were like, holy cow, that's what these guys have been up to, that we weren't willing to be aware of. But when we were willing to be aware of, after a while, we could go into, okay, so what choice what choice is creating this, and what choice created that. And that's when we actually got the awareness of, like, in fact, it keeps opening and unraveling. Like the gift of that question is that, like, we realized recently that we had a point of view um, that we picked up about, that how, like, business partners are like, and not to be trusted, or are enemies. So if you have that point of view and you don't even know you're functioning from that underlying point of view, that you have that point of view actually, and if you're not willing to see it, has ruling everything else that you're actually choosing and creating. So when you go out and create partnerships, or you have a difficult time creating partnerships and creating with other people, or you are not being able to actually create wealthy, healthy, partnerships, business partnerships, which can create more wealth and more money for everyone in so many different ways. That when you're actually willing to go, oh, that's the point of view that we've been functioning from. Like, who does it belong to? Never mind. What would we like to choose now? That's when you have choice. That's when you actually choose more choice and choose to have more choice rather than function from that. You don't even need to work on it. You just need to go, oh, that's what we, that's an interesting point of view. I wonder where that came from, and then not even be bothered about where it came from, but go, okay, that's not like, how is that even serving me? Like, what is that creating? That's
Yeah.
creating, keeping me from creating business partnerships that can thrive.
Has
I've been
that shown up? Has that shown up in your life? I don't know if you can give us a practical example of that.
I did. That was just that was.
Yeah.
I just
But
gave the yeah.
yeah, that's in your life. It's shown up then. Yeah.
Yeah, we had this business partnership, and like it just so happened, like with both Audrish and me, my business partner and husband, it just so happened that we both like kind of sort of dissolved our partnerships within the span of 2 years with other people, with a couple of other people that we had businesses with, and we had that underlying thing because we weren't willing to be aware of that. And this point of view that we are functioning from, this was very recent. Like it was after a year or so that we actually even became aware that we had that part. Like, we were just talking, it was like, well, of course, we were talking about something else. It was like, well, of course, business partners are like always supposed to be your enemy. I think I was teasing him. And then we both looked at each other and we said, that's an interesting, we could stop laughing. So that's another really awesome too. Something that actually is light for you, is true for you, even if it looks the most stupidest choice you could make. We can stop laughing. And I was like, that's an interesting choice to be making. That's an interesting point of view to be having. And then looking at how can we create partnerships and businesses and possibilities that can thrive.
Absolutely, absolutely, and also, it's so funny because I actually never wanted to work with my husband, right? Because I saw how he is in our life is always like so sweet and so cuddly and so and in business he's like the architect and doing his thing. And I'm not going to ever want to be on that side. I don't know how it happened. And I woke up one morning and it's like, oh my goodness, we're actually working together. And but it does open up the door to different realities. And I love that if you're willing to have disagreement, not be in agreement and harmony and everything's going to be sweet. And, if you're willing to have actually from different points of view, right, from different perspectives, and then how does that contribute to wealth? How does that contribute to your opening up the streams of income that you may have been blocking out because you weren't willing to see things from a different perspective,
Yeah. And we create this sort of catch-22 situation where we're asking for thriving businesses and thriving possibilities and thriving planet and thriving future, but we actually have these points of views. But that's the fun thing, that you can actually go ahead and choose and ask for a thriving business and creation and possibilities. But then you will start becoming aware of the choices that you've made that are not letting that show up, or the points of view that you have holding on so dear, or like even if you don't know that you're holding on to it, and a lot of times it is because you want to be right. You so want to be right because like those
right?
guys, those
Right.
guys are doing it to me. This is happening to me. I can't be.
Right. Or it's not even that what came for me when you said you want to be right. It's not that you want to be right. You are right.
you know,
You're right. whatever
even
they're saying is like not
exactly.
right.
Even when you're absolutely feeling wrong, is also when you're like, you know, you're right that you're wrong.
So what is that? What was that? Those questions I would like to again, just that you can ask yourself that if you ask yourself, then you actually see some of the choices that you haven't made. What creates a thriving future or something? What did you say?
Yeah, so when we were like, the more we've been asking, what would it be like? What would it be like to create with the earth, for example? And so then you are looking for like creating a thriving sort of, right? You cannot be creating a not sustainable, not thriving sort of thing to be creating a thriving, creating with the earth. And so anyways, like I think I sort of just smaller sized it. But if you're actually looking at, the question was, whatever that is showing up in your life that is not working, or that you're not, that keeps you from actually choosing what you say that you desire, there is some sort of choice that you've made, some sort of conscious choosing it or having it. The question would be, what choice is creating this?
What is creating this?
What choice is creating this? And that's like an acknowledgement of like everything that's showing up in my life, in your life, is what is the choice. Some role is not the sum total, but it's like the choice that you made
Right,
in the past.
right, right.
Doesn't need to change. You become aware of it and go, okay, what would I like to choose now?
Yeah, yeah. So this is a really vital time to be asking those questions, you know, because so much is changing. There's so many possibilities that have just closed away. You know, I know a woman I work with. She works on my nails, right? But she has a job now. I've known her for 20 years. She has a job over the last 7 years where she's working in a school in the mess hall. What do you call them? The messa in Italian. But the schools are closed now. And her mom had suggested her get a job so that you will have a continuity of income. And if you get
Yes,
ill or something, you'll have payments that you receive. Her mom's not around, her dad's not around, and now she doesn't have that as a possibility. So many possibilities have shut down for people in this period, right? And
yeah.
I'm just wondering what invitation we can be for people to look not only at the possibilities that have shut down, maybe temporarily, maybe permanently, but also explore possibilities that are opening up, you know?
Yeah, it definitely is interesting times. Like for me, it's been really, I mean, looking at the points of views. I mean, they're loud. They're louder than ever before. Like the squirrel, like the squirrels around my house and the birds and the crickets. Everyone has gone louder. They're loud.
Yeah. Which is
It's
awesome. It's
been,
awesome. It's like really rare that you can hear so many squirrels and stuff and birds and stuff, right? And
yeah, yeah. Like, and so with that, it's also the points of views that I was avoiding that I have, or the choices that I've been making that's creating my life currently are loud. And the fun thing about that, though I really want to stress upon that, is that it's not about like making yourself wrong about the choices that you've made or the points of view that you're becoming aware of. Because a lot of times we sort of kind of almost moan and grieve the limitations that we've been choosing, um, that we are losing now. But what if you were willing for the change to occur with ease? And what if you could go, okay, that's what I've been choosing so far. What would I like to choose now? Because we spend so much time and energy in trying to defend the choices that we've made in the past that keeps us from choosing what we can truly choose now. But every 10 seconds, what if you had a different choice? Like, what if you had a different choice of how you would handle? And that's really the invitation of what we were talking about, right? Like, the beauty of money and wealth is The more you choose your reality, the more you're willing to ask, what is my reality? The more of that can show up with more ease. Because you try to follow, um, you know, how other people do it or how it's supposed to be done rather than going, okay, this is what is showing up. Like we function from like the probabilities in creation and with money and business. Like if I do this and this, then this will occur. And how many times does that actually happen?
Right.
Very
Exactly.
rarely.
Yeah.
Mostly we spend the rest of our lives then being disappointed about being our choices. Whereas here's an invitation to like, okay, what else is possible? That's creating from possibilities, not probabilities. Because probabilities will lead you to sort of walls and dead ends that you have to then sort out and go around. But when you're actually being what else is possible and what else can I choose here, those possibilities can show up that are actually available for you.
Exactly. It's like when instead of looking down or looking backward, right?
Yeah,
If you were willing to have a global vision, then you
yeah.
can see what's coming from all directions. Yeah, I call that door number one, door number two, door number three. I call that in my Dancing with Riches book. Right? Like door number one is you get this awareness. Oh my goodness, I made that choice. Door number one is why did I make that choice? Why was I doing? Who am I? Why? Why do I always make that? You know, and you're going back into the rabbit hole. You know,
Yeah.
and you're looking back, regretting what you've done. You know, door number two is wow, I made that choice. Okay, haha, can you pass the salt? you know, like pretend it didn't happen, right? Nothing. Oh,
Exactly.
door number three is
Exactly.
wow, like you said. Well, what can I choose now? Boom, door number three, and millions of possibilities are behind that door. So
Yeah.
yeah, so
When you were saying that, what I could there was this visual of like a hamster, like in a sort of a cage, and all the doors are like that from the top and the sides is open and the back is open. He's basically looking at the front door and it's not open, so he thinks he's jailed and imprisoned. But it is my sense is there is no going back to normal because I don't even know what that normal was. Like just for a moment, like everyone who's listening now or in the future, get a sense of what your life was before the lockdown and look at what it is now. And look at in 1 month's time. Would you be able to go back or would it have to be different? Or will it be different? And that's the one thing that's the gift of that. I mean, I look at the garden. We have like this whole sort of garden, beautiful garden here, and with every day with the lockdown, I've had the chance to actually walk there and be present, way more present than I've ever been with everything, and not a single day is it the same. The butterflies, the leaves, the way it grows, the color, the sky, how it engages with each other changes every single day. It kind of didn't seem that much because they used to come and prune it. So the round ones looked like the round one. When they couldn't do that, it was even more alive and even more changed. And so not a single tree, not a single blade of grass was the same. And what if they're far more like the planet and like the earth than we've ever acknowledged before.
absolutely. How can we look at things in a different way, from a different perspective, with this change, right? And it's an interesting time because everyone on the planet has experienced change. Even those people who work in a profession that didn't get a lockdown, the doctors or the, you know what I mean, or if you're working in a pharmacy or that didn't get a lockdown. That's still a change for you because you're working and no one else is. You know what I mean? So that's different too. And so
No traffic.
it's already a different perspective. And how can you use that different perspective to see things that you haven't been willing to see, or able to see, you know? And it's
Yeah,
something as simple as less traffic, less pollution, so you can see the clouds in the sky in a different way.
and the stars. Yeah,
And the stars, and the sunset is never the same. You know, there's always something different about the sunset. So nature is like such a simple yet complex, right? Uh, really thing for us to use as the first glance at change. That is the only constant. The
Yep.
only constant. Yeah. And
It is. Yeah.
I'm just wondering what invitation to have more ease with change. You know, like you
Yeah.
said, like you said, be willing to have ease with change. Be willing, first of all, to accept change.
Yeah.
So we say it in this way, accept change.
And that is almost that is being kind to you. Like a lot of people might think that not that someone is, I don't know what the people who are listening, but like when I was younger, when I would go about and travel or go with some different friends and then come back, and I would be so different. And my friends at home at times would be like, "There you go, changing again." But that's what the thing is, that like, what if there's a kindness in the change that is available for you? Because if you look at it, like if I actually go and tell that the garden that, hey, can you be like how you were on Wednesday? I would not. Or like last month, can you be the same as last month? And like look at that, like where are we doing that with ourselves, with our bodies, with our relationships, with our money flows, with our revenue streams, and with our businesses, and the future that is available for us? Where are we asking for, like asking the garden of abundance that is showing up with the squirrels and the butterflies, and we have bees that were never here before, and the strangest things are occurring actually in our garden. But that's another story. That's another conversation for another time. But like asking all of that to go back to how it was on before lockdown, or a week before, even a day before, like would that really be kindness? So where are we asking our businesses to go back rather than be the thrivability that it can actually now step into?
And this is something that I'm doing with the 7 steps, this Zoom free Zoom called 7 Steps to Flawless Communication with Kids. And I also did a like with the UK group yesterday, a little guided meditation, but inviting us to go back um, to that space of curiosity and wonder and constant change that we were when we were kids. And how can we be a contribution and support kids in that, instead of trying to immediately get them down to a rigidity and a walking a straight line? And where does that straight line lead to? Look where we were in
Yeah.
March, in February, in March, in April. So, do we really want them to walk a straight line, or are we willing to encourage their exploration of who they are, what's new? And from that space, it's a bit what you're saying. What if we could rediscover that space in us? Have we already declared what our income is, what the streams of income are, where our money comes from, and how we're gonna die?
And what does money have to look like? What is
Yeah,
money?
yeah. Yeah. What is money? What is money?
Yeah,
What,
yeah, for me it is something that actually enriches my life. It brings joy to me, and then it can be anything.
I was looking for my wallet because I always have some Indian rupees in my wallet. I always have different monies, right? Forms
Yeah.
of money in my wallet, so that my wallet is not refusing any type of money. You
Any
want
country.
to be familiar with the vibration of different money, so it's not like, oh no, if it's not euro or dollars, I can't receive it. Oh no, it all. If
Bring it
it's
on.
gold, if it's silver, if it's whatever, you're willing to receive it all. And that's
Yeah.
me nurturing the opening up of my wallet, physical wallet, to different types of money.
Yep.
So, what nurturing can we be to our bank accounts and our lives, to opening up different types of money? And this is where the wealth is so much of contribution. And like you were saying, that the wealth, what wealth creates from the very beginning, the various choices you have. And it may not show up the way you think it's going to, right?
It won't.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I've now realized, that I'm so much happier if I'm not. And that's also an acknowledgement of like how, like if you actually look at like what you were talking about, like when you were a kid, how did you like how many times did you just ask for something and it sort of showed up as if by magic. So, and I'm not saying that actions are not required, but we do this either or sort of situation where we go, oh, it should show up as if by magic, and so then actions are not required,
Yeah, because you know why?
or actions.
If it shows up by magic, then you got to get up and grab it. Or it showed up by magic. Oh, great!
Open the
And guess
door.
what? Get up your butt, man. Jump up and say, "Hey!" I'm
You
sorry,
got
I
to open.
interrupted you.
I'm with you, honey. It's like, hello, open the door. It's ringing the bell.
I always say that. You're asking
Get
for
out of bed.
have you put a welcome sign on your door? You know what I'm saying? Have you put a welcome sign on your door? You got a little bit of salty stuff, a little bit of sweet stuff, milk, wine, bubbly water, warm water, whatever. What you're asking for requires, are you willing to be that? And
Yeah.
that's your wealth, your willingness to be and create anything that will bring you more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how much of you are the wealth that is actually that you already have? Because it's like, if everything else is taken, what do you have? You.
Yes. Yes.
So what do you know about you that you've never acknowledged before? If you're listening to this conversation, what do you know about you that you've never acknowledged before? You would not be listening to this conversation.
Exactly. There's no coincidences. There's no coincidence at all.
Even if you're pissing you off. I've heard some conversations in my life where I've been there, where they've been opening a door that I was not totally ready to open yet, but I would be like, whatever. It's easy for them to say, but but it has. If I'm willing to actually receive it, it's changed. It's opened some doors.
Yeah. Well, one of the many things I adore about you is you you are a question. You're always asking questions. When we were working together and creating, it's like different weird places to get to get interviews, different countries, different perspectives. And you have like 3 or 4 different businesses if you've reduced them, because before I don't know how many. You and your husband with the architectural or tell us a bit about what you do, what you're doing in this moment. Yeah.
Well, it's basically, we're looking at like, so we have an architecture, an interior design firm, and then we're designing, and we have partnered with different people for furniture design and making like handcrafted solid wood furniture that will last you lifetimes. And then I'm an access consciousness certified facilitator and a right voice for you facilitator. And then we have brand design and creation and business development, which actually those words sort of take away from it. It's really looking at like, hey, like, I actually wanted to talk about this. So maybe thank you for asking, because if you look at money, even if we want to look at it like in terms of gold or money, it's actually, how did it come about? The beauty of it was that it was actually an exchange. It was not an exchange, it was trading. It was trading for like, hey, I've got this, you've got this, that's awesome about you, this is awesome about me. And like, hey, I want potatoes, you grow amazing, I don't
Right.
know,
Barter. The barter system. Yeah.
yeah. So it was a trading of like, and with an acknowledgement of the beauty that we saw in each other, and the contribution that was to creating and us all, and contributing all of us living gracefully and gratefully. And so that went into this whole scenario of distortion of money, where it's seen as actually a diminishment of us rather than an expansion and the brilliance of us. So I mean, I would say, like, what is that? Like, what would it be like to actually really start asking, what is your reality with money, and what is my reality with money? Because what will show up? What would that be for you? Because like if you're getting pissed off the way money is actually handled right now and dealt with in the world, then that means that you are aware of a different possibility. What is that possibility? And if you're getting bugged with this conversation that we haven't given you much answers, we've given you a bunch of questions if you listen to
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
which will give you more information about what's true for
I'm
you.
gonna listen to it again for sure. And not looking for the answer. The moment you ask a question, it just look up and look around. Maybe the birds will bring you a message. Maybe the pigeons will bring you a message, right? Or a message in a bottle. But the universe, God, Allah, Buddha, that will somehow, wherever you're willing to look, will bring you awareness, as if, and it might be the magic of money, and then you might have to act. And you can always ask that. I always say that. Action required, right? The first step on the 7 steps to flawless communication is show me the magic. And one of the exercises is ask, is action required?
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes, a lot of times it's not, but when it is, get on off of your thing and take it. You feel
Yeah, like
bad.
this.
So,
You just popped in my world, and I was like, yeah, let me pick up the phone and call Cass, and here we are having a conversation about random things. Um, but so that's another thing. Like having clarity on what is it that you would like to create. Like what is the future that you would like to live in. Like for me, and it keeps shifting and changing, but a core thing that has been creating with the planet and the joy of that brings and the beauty. So anything that matches that is a yes.
yes, yes,
So then it can be multiple revenue streams. Like I was just looking at my revenue streams the other day, and I was like, I don't have plenty of revenue streams. I need more. What's required? And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Let me just have a look at whatever created so far, and what's going on. And I looked at my revenue streams, and there were quite a few. There were like some 10, 15 that I could actually list at that particular point without really opening up anything and just list out. But look at the different ways that actually revenue or money or income or wealth is actually coming into your life, and acknowledge them so that they can expand and grow, and ask them what do they require from you today, and then look at what else would you like to add and have more clarity on. Because if your target is to make a living or make sure that you just put bread on the table, that's what you'll create. But
right.
if your target is to, and that you'll always have that sense of you're not creating enough. But if you have more of the sense of what is it that you desire, what is the future that you would like to live in, it will give you more and more sense. Like I remember there were days I used to wake up every day totally depressed, and I would be like, "Can I just go back to bed? I don't want to wake up. I don't want to wake up to this world and this reality." And then when I found the access to it, and I started asking, "What is the future I would like to live?" Or some sort of version of it. Sorry about that. In some sort of version of it, I started becoming aware of, like, the first thing I started asking was, what would it take for me to jump out of bed joyfully? Like, what can I create my life as, and what can I choose today that I never get bored? I'm so bored, and now when I do, it's like it's awareness. Since it's not mine or something, I can add something. Um, in my life. So you want to look at what is it you desire to create. So even if it's just joy, I know it seems like a really redundant sort of thing. How's joy going to make you money? But you might be surprised.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because when you're smiling, more is attracted to you. Okay.
Yeah,
When you have the joy, you're like emanating joy, and that is a healthy approach to life in general. And when you're healthy, you are fertile, and when you're fertile, the wealth can actually grow, and the beauty is all around you. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you, Miss Eena. Do you have a EenaBasur.com website?
I do, inabasur.com. And if you're interested in architecture or furniture or something like that, then it's theearthhome.com. I actually also want to, considering we've been talking about money and if people would like more, I have a series of 3-part series coming up called Money.
Easy,
In
easy,
case we
easy.
didn't want to confuse you. I know money confuses you. We don't want to
Exactly,
confuse you.
exactly. I wonder what this series is about. You have that on your website, though, right?
It's on my website, and you can actually find me on Facebook as well. But
Okay.
but this one is with two really other amazing facilitators who have it easy. Let me tell you that. I've been jealous of them every now and then. The ease that they have with creation and wealth and money. And so one is Aradhana Tiwari and the other is Samita Kocher. And I'm super excited to be doing this 3
I
day.
love them both. I love them both. And Radhana's, I love her gym at her house. I started doing my
She has a
plank.
gym in her house.
Oh, top floor. She's got an awesome gym. Awesome gym. I've got pictures. I put her on Facebook from a couple of years ago in her house. So
Yeah.
it was awesome there. Awesome. Okay, so the buddy's here. So check out Eena Basur.com. Know that she's got amazing energy and family and friends. And I'm so glad that you were here with me on
Me
health,
too.
wealth,
Thank you so
and beauty. And people will be able to watch it. Please invite them to watch it. And yeah, what else is possible? What can we create? Cool. Thank you. Mwah. Bachi
Thank
bachi
you.
kisses from eye to eye. Thank you guys for watching.